Building a cabin has been a long and arduous journey of delayed gratification. I've wanted to do this since I was in high school, and so I wanted to tell a really crazy story that happened to me along the way. I used to go to all kinds of websites, countryplans.com, smallcabin.com, and later on Facebook and Instagram, but those forums were really a lot better. And there was this one cabin that it spoke to me. I mean, it was like the guy who built it was pulling the cabin from my head and building it. And this cabin was so nice, it really inspired me. Anyway, one day I was walking from building to building at work, and I ran into my old boss, and I was talking to him how I was thinking about resigning and kind of going on my own, and so I could also build a cabin. He's like, well, you know, Travis did that. And so it turns out that I used to work with this one guy who had built a cabin in the woods a couple hours from where I lived. And I was like, oh, no way. So I emailed him, talked to him. We worked at the same place at Booz Allen Hamilton at the same time, didn't really know each other. You know, this is a couple years later. I had switched to working for the Air Force. My job was weapons system cost estimator. And anyway, so I contacted him, and he sent me a picture of his cabin, and his cabin was the same cabin that I had been following his progress, having no idea where in the world this cabin is, who built it, anything like that. Turns out the guy who built it works with me. The cabin is a couple hours from my house, and I knew the guy. Like that was just an amazing coincidence, and that cabin really put my search for land, my saving into overdrive. It really inspired me to make this happen, meeting someone who had done what I wanted to do. So I used to sit at work and design cabins. I'd design them in Excel, I'd change the pixels so that it would be a square, and I would just design cabin after cabin. I wasn't really neglecting my work, because if you work for the government, you're always waiting for someone to give you something before you can do something. So I'd have these down periods where, you know, I'd need something to be able to move forward. So this happened to be the design that I was on when I finally got land and started building cabins. Like if I got land 3 years later, the cabin would probably look totally different. You're never done designing. At some point you have to just start building. So this is what I came up with. So I wanted to show you guys some of these pictures and drawings so that you could get some ideas, and you know, you can use them for your own personal use. If you're a company that sells plans, please don't use them, but you know, if you're just a guy or a girl that wants to build a cabin, feel free to use this stuff. So at one point during my cabin building odyssey, I kind of got frustrated, and I felt like I was never ever going to be able to afford land, and I just said screw it, and I started building a cabin in my backyard. So my wife came home from work one day, and she was like where's the shed? And I was like, oh, I sold it on Craigslist. And I didn't sell it, I just put a sign up for free, and someone came with a flatbed truck and towed it off my property because I wanted to build a backyard cabin in that spot. And so anyway, I built this cabin as practice, and I learned a ton from doing it. Really good experience. Some of the things that I learned, you know, just about proportions, overhang, roof pitch. The original design of this cabin, the roof pitch was supposed to be steeper, but I had to lower it because there was a maximum allowable height for a shed, and I had to come in under that height. So that I really saw how awkward it looked when I was done. So I learned that, you know, don't compromise on anything. Make sure that you do it the way you want. One of the hardest things to do was to get to where I needed to be financially, just to save money to buy the land and then build. So we really buckled down. We started saving as much money as we could. I started buying rental properties. My dad had done this when I was a kid, and I kind of saw him and was inspired by what he had done. So I started buying rental properties. I'd also do side jobs. Eventually I got to the point where I had rental income that I could go part-time. So I went part-time in my job. They randomly sent out an email one day about this program called JobShare, and I would delete 95% of my emails before I ever read them. And for some reason I read this email and I wrote back and forgot about it, and you know, I got an email like 6 months later. That's kind of how the government works. I got an email 6 months later saying, congratulations, you've been selected for JobShare. And I'm like, what was JobShare? And so basically, you know, you share your job with another person and you both go part-time. So I was part-time for like 3 years. I worked on the rental properties more, saved more. And then about almost exactly a year ago, in January, I resigned, managed my rentals, and started working on the cabin full time. And so because this process took so long, I had a lot of time to learn how to build. I think the way that you should learn is through books, but I think books are always better. There's all kinds of people on the internet who are perfectly willing to give advice but have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, don't even learn from me. I make mistakes all the time, but books have an editorial process. So you actually have to be an expert to write a book. So I'll show you some of the books that I used. And I also used Fine Home Building magazine. I've been a long time subscriber there. And then Country Plans is really good because of the moderators and the commenters on there. Okay, so thanks for watching. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this video because I usually like to show stuff actually happening in my videos, but I thought that this would be kind of fun and might be able to help someone out. I really appreciate everybody who watches and comments. It's been so fun. Like, I never thought that like a lot of people would actually watch my videos. I was just kind of doing it because I had a passion for cabins, and you know, I thought a couple people might like it. So it's really been cool to see people, you know, getting inspired and commenting, and I always forget to say like and subscribe. So if you like this, you know, like it and subscribe it. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.